Hello, listeners in France, in the U.S., in diaspora. Bamboo tree thrives and blossoms amongst thorns. So also does the roses. The roses also thrive and blossom and flourish in the midst of thorns. And I pray for all the listeners in diaspora that no matter your challenges, you will also blossom. No matter what the thorns of life that tends to choke you to a corner, you will blossom. On this note, I welcome everyone to the Backstage Story Show on Nollywood Radio France. My name remains Demola, Sanyaolu. Don't go anywhere. This episode promises to be very exciting.
Fẹ́mi Sọ́láre.
Adékọ́lá King Rọ́kàn ló ń bọ̀.
Ẹ̀tún gbẹ́ ìjàsà ẹ̀sọ̀ kọ̀ bóyá.
Ọ̀gá lóbòde Voice of Georgia. Kọ́ládé bá mi gbẹ́lú mi jọ̀ọ́.
Bá mi gbẹ́lú mi àtọ́ba. Táyọ̀ bá mi gbé dúró mi. Bóyá ṣé kí n gbẹ́sẹ̀ lé.
Ọba pẹ̀lú Fẹ́mi Sọ́lá ló ń bọ̀. Ẹ wá bá wa jó.
Fẹ́mi Sọ́láre Arẹ̀mú. Sukusukusukusuku. Ṣàlàyé jíjó wa.
Jíjó ọba àtọ́ba jàsá.
Fẹ́mi Sọ́láre ọmọ bìtì o. Bóyá máa ṣàlàyé jíjó mi Sọ́láre.
Ọmọdé máa yé.
Yes, welcome back. Today I have with me a notable guest. He is indeed a special guest. He is a man of honor. He is a man of many dimensions. He is a man with with several faces. He is no other person than Zack Orgi. Zack Orgi, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Demola. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. You want to greet your people in diaspora?
Well, I am Zack Orgi, an actor, filmmaker, and media consultant from Nigeria. And I'm on the Backstage Story Show with Demola on Nollywood Radio 5.
All right. Zack, it's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
All right.
It's my pleasure to be on Nollywood Radio France.
That's why your busy schedule. It's nice to have you all the same. Now,
Thank you very much, Demola.
Let's start with your origin from the start. You were born in Libreville, Gabon.
Yes.
You want to tell us about your lifestyle in Libreville?
Sorry?
You want to tell us about your life in Libreville before you moved out of Libreville, Gabon?
Oh, I was just a baby when my parents left Libreville back to Nigeria. I was a baby.
Okay.
But we were all born in Gabon, myself and my 3 other siblings who were born in Gabon.
All right. Then you studied in Nsukka. Then your adventure in Cameroon, Benin Republic, and Togo. What were your experiences like those 3 places?
Part of my growing up and my formative years were in Cameroon.
Okay.
Where I did part of my primary and secondary school education, both in English and in French.
Okay.
We spent about 9.5 years in Cameroon, with my parents, and then came back to Nigeria in 1976.
Okay.
We came back to Nigeria. I finished up my secondary school education in National Grammar School Nike, where I was the senior prefect.
Okay.
And back in 1978, I was the leader of a delegation of French students sponsored by the French Embassy to a 2-week holiday program in Lomé, Togo.
All right.
Part of my formative years was also in Cotonou and in Lomé.
All right.
And in Abidjan. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. These adventures, I guess, is responsible for your bilingual skill.
Yes. Yes. Responsible for that. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Your first movie was Unforgiven Sin. Is that correct?
The Unforgiven Sin, 93. That's about 21 years ago.
All right. Now, your experience in Nollywood from the time you did Unforgiven Sin, would you say the industry is evolving into a unique diadem, or we're not there yet?
I am of the school of thought that you are never really there, whatever endeavor you're engaged in life, because the worst thing for any man to assume is that he knows it all or he has gotten there.
Okay.
Life is always a challenge. Life is always a process of moving forward from one stage to another. So you are never really there. So I always consider myself a learner, a student, and somebody who is always striving to get better. So based on that, I would say we are not yet there in Nollywood, but we have come a long way. We have done quite a bit from the first time when I started a movie in terms of the kind of equipment, camera and camera support gear that we use right now, in terms of the stories we do now, in terms of the places where the movies have gone to in all parts of the world, in terms of the image making that Nollywood has really done for Nigeria. You can say with all certainty that the greatest salesman for Nigerian movies all over the world is Nollywood. I mean, the greatest salesman of the Nigerian nation and Nigerian products all over the world is Nollywood.
All right.
And I can only say, based on all of that, we have come a long way because there are so many things that are happening now that were not there.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Uncle Zack. You played lead roles in some movies: Blood Money, Harbinger, Deadly Passion, Behold, Love in Vendetta, How Before
Even the Unforgiven Sin, yeah.
Forgiven Sin, okay. Ordained, then Return to Kozunda, Ungrateful, Now, as a producer too, and you played lead roles in most of these movies, and as a producer, would you say that your experience way back till now, would you say the producers have upped their game in terms of movie production?
Yes, they have. They have upped their game. One of the reasons being that a number of producers we have right now are also people who have evolved from being actors to producers and directors like myself. And at the same time, there are people who joined the industry from a professional background. You know, with what Nollywood has done so far, there are a lot of people who have studied filmmaking in different places, not only in Nigeria, not only on the job, but they also went to film schools abroad, and a number of them have returned to Nigeria to practice their craft. So we see quite a number of films that are a far departure from what we used to do. In a lot of ways. So I would say the producers have really upped their game.
All right. I'm still on the Backstage Story Show, and I've been speaking with the notable Zack Orgi. Zack Orgi is a filmmaker, he's a producer, and he's a director. He's also a very notable actor in the movie industry. Uncle Zack, thanks for your time and sparing me your time. Now, I want us to go back. Nollywood, that name, some school of thought. I've spoken with Kobe Maxwell. Kobe Maxwell is of the opinion that Nollywood people shouldn't start coming up with different names. That Nollywood really emanated from Nigeria. That we should just come under one umbrella and call it probably Afriwood, and let's represent the whole of Africa instead of having those names. What's your own take on this?
First of all, most of the names we bear today were given to us by someone else. For example, I'm not sure you call yourself Demola. I'm sure it's your parents that give you that name, just like myself. It's my parents that gave me the name that I'm bearing today. So in the same way, the name Nigeria was not coined by us.
Yeah.
Okay, the name Nollywood was also not coined by us. It was used for the first time in an article in the New York Times in, I think, May of 2002 by someone called Matt Stinglers, an American, who had seen what we are doing in Nigeria and likened it to what is happening in Nollywood in the United States, and then came up with the name Nollywood to cover up the diversity of films and motion picture, production that is going on in Nigeria. So what I think is that Nigerians themselves who are in motion picture practice should not start now giving themselves different names. Like I hear people who produce Hausa films in Kano trying to call themselves Kannywood, and those who produce films in Yoruba trying to call themselves another name. So it sounds very ridiculous to me, because in America you have Hollywood, and Hollywood now covers the diversity of motion picture practice all over America.
Yeah.
So I believe that it should be the same way in Nigeria. There shouldn't be another name apart from Nollywood, because that's what it represents. It covers up the diversity of motion picture practice in the whole of Nigeria. And that's probably what the gentleman had in mind when he coined the name. The only problem is that most of the people, even in the industry, don't even know the origin of the name.
Yeah.
So some of them even think that we are the ones who gave ourselves that name, not knowing that it was coined by an American. Just like the name Nigeria, it was coined by Lord Lugard's girlfriend, and we've been using the name Nigeria, and it has worked very well for us as a nation. So I believe we should also go ahead and use the name Nollywood, because it has been working very well for us as an industry.
Okay. Thank you, Uncle Zack.
Yeah.
Do you belong to the Producers Guild?
Yes, I'm a member of the Association of Movie Producers.
Okay.
I am a member and a past president of the Actors Guild of Nigeria. I'm also a member of the Directors Guild of Nigeria.
All right. All these guilds, my question will emanate from there. All these guilds, why do they sometimes break up and start creating another name or another association when there are challenges, or when there are loggerheads, or when there are imbroglios? Why not just resolve the issues and move on? Why create another association? What do you have to say about that?
It is unfortunate that people break away and create other associations. But sometimes it is also good to go to the root cause of the breakaway and then find out why these people are breaking away. Some of these guilds and associations were formed at a time that nobody was aware that things like this existed. So if you go to some of the guilds and associations, you will discover that it's just one or two or three people that came together and just got a name.
Okay.
Some of these associations are not even registered, and some of these associations have been carrying on like that. Are you following?
Yeah, I know.
And because some of these people registered these associations, they are now claiming some proprietorial rights over these associations, and they are not allowing the guilds and associations to operate optimally or maximally the way they should operate, or the way they operate in other countries. So sometimes when people who know better try to introduce changes, these changes are resisted. Okay. So because of that, some people now want to break away and form guilds and associations the way they should be run.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want to take you to stage performances. You know, you've produced, you've directed several movies like Web, like Gang Up, like Mother's Cry, like Last Day, Center Hooks, Bonds of Tradition, Jealous Housewife. You know, you've done some of these. Now, some of these movies that you've also directed, what is your take about stage performances so that people can actually have a feel of some of the people that play lead roles and some of these actors in the movies? Do you subscribe to the school of thought that says, okay, let's start brandishing, let's rebrand stage performances so that we can feel our audience properly?
Yes, stage is very good because it provides a very practical background for actors.
Yeah.
Stage is also different from film.
Okay.
Even though drama is drama, because drama is performance, drama is drama is performance, whether on stage or in film.
Okay.
But you discover that stage is very different because on stage you are performing directly in front of a live audience, and you are communicating directly with them. There is a kind of intimacy.
Yeah. There
is a kind of chemistry between the audience and the actor when you are doing stage.
Okay.
It is a totally different feeling from film.
Okay.
Are you following what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
So I would say that both experiences are very vital for any actor.
Okay.
But at the same time, one of the problems that stage actors have when they are doing film is that they do not know how to do the transition properly.
Okay.
So you discover that sometimes when you watch some people and you find them acting with a capital A, you just discover that this guy is from stage and he is doing film, and to some extent you see some people overacting because they are trying to transit from stage to film and they have not done that transition properly.
Okay. All right.
Are you following what I'm saying?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
All right. I've been speaking with Zack Orgi. Let's have a music break and we'll be right back. Yes, welcome back. Zack, people just saw, a lot of people, you just didn't get into the movie industry and start succeeding. There is a little history about you making aquariums. You want to tell us about that? Experience way back?
I graduated from the university about 30 years ago. That is in 84.
All right.
And at that time in the history of Nigeria, there was a military coup. And at that time also, the military regime was introducing some austerity measures in Nigeria.
Okay.
There were hardly jobs coming by. And at the same time, what I believe is that everybody has a variety of gifts and talents that God has given him.
Yeah.
And at every point in your life, you find that one gift or talent or one ability takes you from one stage to another.
Yeah.
For example, if you go to the Bible, you'll discover that David was the king. David eventually became king, but it was his gift in music that took him to the palace of Saul. But eventually David became king. He was also a warrior. He was a musician. He was a poet. He was a writer. He was a whole lot of things. So I know that when I left school, when I graduated from the university and did my youth service, and I was looking for a job as an estate surveyor and valuer, I also of the opinion that I shouldn't just stay idle while looking for a job. So while I was looking for a job, I also got myself engaged in some other endeavors.
All right.
And that's how I started making aquariums to sell. At the same time, I was also learning how to make shoes, and I actually started making shoes and selling.
Okay.
What I would do is I would go to Balogun, look at some of those shoes that are imported from Italy and Spain and elsewhere, sketch them. When I sketch them, I'll go and buy some materials and then go to one shoemaker that I knew in Enugu, and I will sit down with him and supervise the making of the shoes. By the time he had done about 2 batches of shoes for me, I had also learned how to make shoes.
Wow.
And I started developing my own design because fine arts was one of my favorite subjects in school. I made a C4 in fine arts. So I knew how to sketch, I knew how to draw. So I kept myself busy.
Okay.
Making shoes, selling shoes, even having a shop, a little outlet somewhere where I had my machines and other things. Unfortunately, I came to the shop one day and discovered that it had been boggled and the machines were gone and all my stuff was gone. And still I moved on.
Okay.
From making shoes now, I started buying and selling produce.
Okay.
Before buying and selling produce, I also went into clearing and forwarding business.
Okay.
That's one of the things I did.
Okay.
But it was in the process of buying produce for exports that I came onto a few friends, some guys who were writing the script of a movie at the time. They were writing the script for The Unforgiven Sin. I expressed my desire to be part of the movie, and when they listened to my speech and looked at me physically, concluded that I was the kind of person they were looking for to play the lead role in the movie. So right away, even without auditioning me, they gave me the script. That script was written in English, and we were supposed to now translate it into Igbo language and deliver our characters in Igbo language. But eventually it was subtitled in English.
Wow.
And that's how I did The Unforgiven Sin, playing the leading role and getting nominated for Best Actor in that very first film.
Wow.
That's the award that was done. Yeah. So that's how it happened. When I finished doing this, I made up my mind to abandon every other thing and just face my career as an actor. That's how it started.
Wow. So it was all this. You were not idle, and then you discovered your passion eventually.
Yes, because of my background, you know, there is a certain bias for the arts for those of us who studied in francophone countries.
Okay.
Because of my schooling in Cameroon, years in some of the francophone countries, I had a bias for acting, for drama, for all of these things. Even though I was an all-rounder, I mean, both in science and arts.
All right.
And eventually, I had always wanted to be like the people I had been watching, you know, in the cinemas, like John Wayne, Lee Van Cleef, Antonio Sabato, Sean Connery. You know, I had been watching a lot of these people, you know, in the movies. I wanted to be like them. So for me, this was a great opportunity, you know, to make that happen. And I eventually discovered that I actually had the ability. And when I put myself into it, I was even surprised at myself. So that's how it happened.
All right.
I just decided to abandon every other thing and face it full time.
Okay. Yeah, listeners in France, in US, in Nigeria, in diaspora, I am still on the Backstage Story Show, and I have been speaking with Zack Orgi. It's nice to have you. We'll be right back after this short break.
Ọ̀làjú ló dé ló jẹ́ a máa wáṣọ ẹbí, àkókò ló dé ló jẹ́ a máa kọrin hip hop èyí rè ló jẹ́ a máa dàbí àrà o, èyí rè ló jẹ́ a máa ṣòun bí àrà o, balẹ̀balẹ̀ a ó fọmọ yóò fáyò, tójú bá mọ́ olóko àròkọ olódò àròdò, èyí ni mo fẹ́, iṣẹ́ orin ni mo yàn. Ni mo fẹ́, iṣẹ́ orin ni mo yàn. Asáré tètè kò jẹ́ kọjá ilé, àrìgbẹ̀dẹ̀ kò jẹ́ sọ́nà. Àlílọ là ń lọ, àbọ̀ la ó padà wálé. Ilé ẹni, iṣẹ́ ẹni, ilé ẹni. Bàbá rẹ̀ ní fẹ̀yìntì, ìyàlẹ́ là ń rí. Asáré tètè kò jẹ́ kọjá ilé, àrìgbẹ̀dẹ̀ kò jẹ́ sọ́nà. Àlílọ là ń lọ, àbọ̀ la ó padà wálé. Ilé ẹni, iṣẹ́ ẹni. Pálapàla ló mọ́mọ́ àkàlà tó fi ń kálá.
Tẹ́ bá bíbí lèrè máa rí sọ, òdodo ọ̀rọ̀.
If you don't know where you dey go, when you dey come, you go dey run around like say you dey find something there. I have seen the shadows, the weather to the light, and deep inside my mind, it feels so hard to bear. Now it's time, let us rise, we can make it all together. We've done it once before, we can do once again. Sáré tètè kò jẹ́ kọjá ilé, àrìgbẹ̀dẹ̀ kò jẹ́ sọ́nà. Àlílọ là ń lọ, àbọ̀ la ó padà wálé. Ilé ẹni, iṣẹ́ ẹni, ilé ẹni. Bàbá rẹ̀ ní fẹ̀yìntì, ìyàlẹ́ là ń rí. Asáré tètè kò jẹ́ kọjá ilé, àrìgbẹ̀dẹ̀ kò jẹ́ sọ́nà. Àlílọ là ń lọ, àbọ̀ la ó padà wálé. Ilé ẹni, iṣẹ́ ẹni, ilé ẹni. Bàbá rẹ̀ ní fẹ̀yìntì, ìyàlẹ́ là ń rí.
Ọmọ sọ́hún tó dàbí àṣà ìdílé wa.
Kò má sí.
Ọmọ sọ́hún tó dàbí àṣà ìdílé wa.
Kò má sí.
Ẹgbẹ́ lárugẹ, ẹgbẹ́ lárugẹ, ẹgbẹ́ lárugẹ. Ẹgbẹ́ lárugẹ, ẹgbẹ́ lárugẹ, ẹgbẹ́ lárugẹ. Ọmọ sọ́hún tó dàbí àṣà ìdílé wa.
Kò má sí.
Ọmọ sọ́hún tó dàbí àṣà ìdílé wa.
Kò má sí. ṣiṣẹ́ ẹja rántí ilé o. Iléyá ẹ̀yin ará Iléyá. Iléyá ẹ̀yin ará Iléyá. Iléyá Iléyá ẹ̀yin ará Iléyá. Bá ṣiṣẹ́ ẹja rántí ilé o. Iléyá ẹ̀yin ará Iléyá. Iléyá ẹ̀yin ará Iléyá.
Welcome back. Zack, you're in some of these roles that you perform. You speak Igbo with so much fluency. Was it your schooling in Nsukka that because a lot of people, once they hear Zack Orgi, nobody ever connected you with Gabon, with Libreville. Nobody ever connected you with all this Cameroonian thing. We always think Zack Orgi was an Igbo man. Was it the University of Nigeria Nsukka that had that influence of the Igbo fluency?
No, not at all. We have a saying in my language that na Adam Wake Benanka. That is you don't learn to be left-handed as an adult at an old age.
All right.
When we left Gabon and went back to Nigeria, we spent a little while in Jalingo, which is the present Taraba state.
Okay.
From there now, my parents went back to Onitsha, which is in the present Anambra state. So we grew up in Onitsha, going to school in Onitsha. I was still a kid at the time, and that's where I learned to speak Igbo.
All right.
And then in secondary school, Igbo was one of the subjects that I chose, and I did very well in Igbo.
Okay. All right. Okay. What is the movie? There's a movie association. There's the Actors Guild. There's the Producers Guild. What are these associations doing to curb the excesses of some producers? You know, some people just come up with flimsy film making, and then continuity is not there. You know, we that we watch movie, I also act a little, but we that we watch the movies from home, we see the errors easily. Why are they that claim to be professionals not seeing the errors? And what is the guild? What are these guilds and associations doing to curb producers that excesses?
First of all, the guilds and associations are basically for the welfare and well-being of their members. Okay. That's basically what they are for. Right. Also, to promote professionalism. Okay. So, but in the area of professionalism, what the guilds and associations do actually is to create opportunities for members now to go for some workshops, for some seminars, you know, to festivals and attend events and other things that will help them grow professionally.
Okay.
But as far as filmmaking is concerned, everybody is an entity, a corporate entity, and you have no right to tamper with anybody's product.
Yeah.
The only thing now is that the agency that is responsible for allowing films to be marketed or to be distributed is the National Film and Video Censors Board, okay, where the classification and the censoring of the film are done.
Okay.
Are you following?
Yeah.
Now, I agree that there are some crappy films.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? There are also crappy films elsewhere. I just watched Sharknado a few days ago with my wife, and we were just pointing out some blunders that were committed. Okay. I don't know if you know the movie Sharknado. Sharknado is a movie from Hollywood.
All right.
Starring the likes of Vivica Fox is in the movie, and some other people. And we were just watching some stuff that it was crazy. So if you talk about crappy films, there are crappy films coming from every movie producing industry.
Okay.
But the issue is that we hope that over time people will take more care.
Okay.
Knowing that the first responsibility of every filmmaker is the audience. Mm-hmm. Just like the first responsibility of the actor is the audience that is going to watch him. So we must be careful the things we produce so that we don't offend the sensibilities and sensitivities of our viewers. Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
All right. Now, your skill in sports, you know, you were a very good shot putter. Let me put it that way.
Yes.
Way back. So, and you represented your state nationally. Why did you take that to the next level and represent us internationally and make us proud?
I mean, sports just was not my area. I did it up to that level, but I knew that beyond that level, I had no future. So I didn't want to just waste my time or disgrace myself.
Okay, and let me also ask you, managing your acting or the movie scenario with home, how challenging could it be sometime, and how are you able to cope with both scenes?
You mean as an actor?
Yes, the home front and then your movie career.
Well, it is quite challenging because it sees me most of the time on the road. If not in Nigeria, outside Nigeria. The good thing is that my wife is also an actress, so she understands the demands of job. Just like herself, she has had to travel also, go to different places, to act or to do costume design. So we understand ourselves very well, even though sometimes it tells on our children.
Okay.
Yeah, but there have been occasions where, for example, in 2006, I traveled to Hollywood with my wife, and both of us starred in a movie.
Wow.
And we were in Hollywood for about 6 weeks.
Wow.
We starred in a movie. So sometimes we have starred in movies like that. In Ghana, we have done some films together in different places. Sometimes it takes us away from our base. The good thing is that I have very wonderful parents-in-law who always fill in the gap for us sometimes when we are not there, because they live in the same city with us in Lagos.
Okay. All right.
We have,
All right.
Yeah.
This is still the Backstage Story Show, and I have been speaking with the notable Zack Orgi. He's fluent in French, he's fluent in English, and he also speaks Igbo languages. He's a notable actor. He's also a producer, a director, and a very strong filmmaker. Zack Orgi, it's nice to have you on the Backstage Story Show, and it's nice for you to spare your time. Now, your adventure, the advent of information technology in the movie industry, would you say that information technology has really helped you producers and filmmakers to a very large extent, or there are still some areas that you think need to be checked?
Yeah, information technology has helped us a lot in the movie industry, because somehow it has facilitated things also that looked impossible to do before.
Okay.
It is possible for us now to actually explode a car or explode a house in our movies, if we want to do that, depending on the kind of movie you are shooting. If there were no information technology, we wouldn't be able to do that. We actually did a film some years back, where we had to physically explode a car. We got a dummy. I don't want to go into all that. But now you really don't need to go to that extent, all that trouble to be able to do certain things, or to depict certain action just by doing reverse editing. So there are a lot of things that information technology has enabled us to do in post-production, even during production also, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, there's an association called the Association of Nigerian Theater Arts Practitioners. I'm not sure you are part of that association.
Association of Nigerian Theater Practitioners, ANTP, is actually the umbrella body for those who do films in Yoruba language.
Okay, because I spoke with the president and I asked him categorically that does ANTP only represent Yoruba, and he said no, that it is indigenous. So that was why I had to ask you that question, because he said it's for indigenous.
When he says it's indigenous, then you have to understand what he means by that. Because it's indigenous.
It's representing indigenous movies in Nigeria, not just Yoruba. That was what he said, that they have their practice all over and all that.
They have all of that, but the language of communication they use is Yoruba.
Okay, so that's why you're not member. That's why you're not a member.
Yes, but we work together, we collaborate, we use each other across different guilds.
Okay.
For example, now those who do films in Hausa, they have an association called Motion Pictures Practitioners Association of Nigeria, MOPAN.
Okay.
It is an umbrella body for those who do films in Hausa language.
All right.
And it is one body that consists of actors, producers, directors, writers, costume designers, set designers, and makeup artists, and different. So for them, it is just one umbrella body.
Okay.
So in the same way you have it for those who do films in Yoruba, you also have one for those who do films in Igbo language. It's called United Movie Producers Association of Nigeria, UMPAN.
Okay.
But when you come to those who do films in English, now you have individual guilds for individual crafts. Like you have the Directors Guild.
Okay.
For directors, you have the Association of Movie Producers for producers. You have the Actors Guild for actors. You have a Creative Designers Guild for costume designers and those in makeup and set design. You have Society of Cinematographers. You have Society of Editors. You have Screenwriters Guild of Nigeria. These are individual guilds and associations for specific crafts.
All right. This is the Backstage Story Show, and I've been speaking with Zack Orgi. Let's have a short break, and I'll be right back.
Polyglotte maintenant, mon français c'est progresse tous les jours. C'est très mauvais, hein, toujours. I fake it till you make it. Cette chanson is on my mother's tongue, which is Yoruba. So I take you to Yoruba land. She be living your body there. I sure be you, Jackie Sao. Let out for I'm here for in the midst of recession, passing prosperity, I could be standing in a storm, I'll be dry and then sing about it, sweet music. Don't call me a dreamer, but dreams keep my frown away. Don't call me a dreamer, but dreams keep my frown away. Yàrá mi wá mi wálé o, ìkòkò lé mi ò gbẹ́dí o. Ọkọ̀ tí mo wà o, kòjó mi kòdó, ilé ẹja ọ̀tàn láti ń panu ábà. In the midst of recession, has the prosperity, I could be standing in a storm, I won't be dry and dandy. Let's think about that sweet music. Don't call me a dreamer, but dreams keep my frown away. Don't call me a dreamer, but dreams keep my frown away. Wúrà òjìyà òjò wá lójú o, gbàgbẹ́. Ó pẹ́ bóyá bàbá ṣe tiwa. Inú wa dùn o, ara wa yọ o, àpèbí mẹ́nu wa ìṣá tó bàtà o. Ẹgbẹ́ lóde o, tẹ̀tẹ̀ pàkóró dídí tẹ̀tẹ̀ dídí tẹ̀tẹ̀ pàpà kẹrẹrẹ kòǹgò dídí tẹ̀tẹ̀ tẹ̀tẹ̀ kòǹgòrò dídí tẹ̀tẹ̀ dídí gàgà. Tẹ̀tẹ̀ kẹrẹ dídí kí mi lé mi pàdé o. Aṣọ mi yóò jàdísà o. Lẹ́jà ọ̀fọ̀ àmìyẹ ọ̀fọ̀ kò wá wálé. Mọ́mọ́ yẹn lẹ́ni léde la fi ń panu. In the midst of recession, passing prosperity, I could be standing in a storm, I'll be trying and leave. Let's sing about that sweet music. Don't call me a dreamer, but dreams keep my frown away. Away. Màmá mi, bàbá mi, ẹ̀gbọ́n mi, àbúrò mi, tọmọtọmọ, tílé tọrẹta. Àdàrà, àdàrà ooo, àdàrà, àdàrà ooo, àdàrà.
Yes, welcome back. Zack Orgi, do you have the intention of opening up like an institute, or do you have an institute where you train young actors and other people that intend to join the movie industry?
Well, if you talk about having an institute, a physical structure, no, I do not have at the moment.
Okay.
But we have evolved some kind of training program.
Okay.
Since 2011. In 2011, for example, when our late president became president, the late Musa Yaradua,
all right,
he created the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs.
Okay.
To take care of certain imbalances in development in that area.
Okay.
So I was invited as one of the 4 companies that were invited. My company was one of them.
Okay.
To come up with a training program in different crafts.
Okay.
In filmmaking and music for youths of the Niger Delta region, which covers 9 states of the federation.
All right.
So we did that project where we trained people in acting, in costume design, in cinematography, in script writing, in film production, in vocal development for musicians, general musicianship, what it takes to be a musician in Nigeria. We did that training program for youths of the Niger Delta, and we took it through the 9 Niger Delta states.
Okay.
Yes. So we have a training, a curriculum for those areas.
So it's a mobile training.
Since then, I have been able to do that training a number of times in different areas.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, I have been speaking with Zack Orgi on the Backstage Story Show on Nollywood Radio France. Zack, please, what advice do you have for young promising actors who just feel that delving into the movie industry, like from what you have said, from your background, before you really tapped into that passion, you were doing other things. You were not idle. What advice do you have for younger folks that want to that have interest in this industry?
Well, I can only say I wish them the very best. But first of all, I think before anybody to take to acting, they should be sure that this is their zone of strength.
Okay.
Because if it is not your zone of strength, you'll just be wasting your time. There is a spiritual element that goes into doing one craft, doing one profession or another. I am a firm believer of that.
Okay.
If you are not correct for that, you'll just be operating in how do I put it? You'll just be wallowing in hardship, in frustration. In my own case, I want to believe, and I believe very strongly that it is an area that God cut out for me to excel.
Yes.
I am also of the firm belief that it is an area where I have some very strong talent and abilities.
All right.
And it didn't take me long to come to terms with that.
Okay.
The problem is that most young people approach me from time to time and say, I want to be like you, I want to be a star, I want to do this, I want to do that. The first thing I tell them is that nobody sets out to be a star.
Yeah.
Nobody sets out to be a celebrity. The thing is that you do something and you do it so well that you keep doing it and people notice you. When people notice you and you have a followership, you become a star, you become famous.
Wow.
So I want to believe that it is those people who are gifted, people who are gifted in this area, who have learned the craft very well, that can excel in it. That I do not discourage anybody. So what I tell anybody who says, I want to be a star, I just tell the person, if that is what you want to be, then you're going to fail. You should strive to build your strength around your zone of strength. You should concentrate to build yourself around the area where you are gifted, where you are talented. Because everybody is created to excel in certain things. Yeah. If you are able to discover your abilities, the areas where you were created to excel in, and you build your strength around those areas, you will definitely become a star. It's only a question of time. All right. You will definitely become a star. But above all of that is extreme hard work. Okay. It is hard work. It demands hard work. It demands focus. It demands total concentration. It demands for you to be tenacious, not be discouraged if it is not happening. And when you fall, when you fail, sometimes you have to know that failure is a part of life. Failure is part of success. Yeah. Because everybody has a certain quotient of failure in their lives, but that doesn't make you a failure. So when you fall, you must have the resilience to get up and move on until you get to your destination. Yeah. So it's a lot of hard work. You must be passionate about it. If you are not passionate about it, you can't get anywhere. Like I told you, when I did that very first movie, I played in a leading role, and in that first movie, I got a nomination for Best Actor, and I came to the realization that this was what I was cut out to do. I abandoned every other thing and gave it full time because of the passion I had for it. So that's my advice to anybody. I will not discourage anybody, but you have to put in a lot. Hard work, you must be tenacious, you must be passionate about it. Wow. You must focus on it, you must give it your all. And even when people discourage you and you are convinced that this is what you want to do, keep doing it. You will excel, you will become a star someday.
All right, you have been listening to Zack Orgi on the Backstage Story Show on Nollywood Radio France, and he has said it all. Make sure it is your zone of strength, then you must have the resilience to fall and get up again, and then it requires a lot of hard work, resilience, tenacity, and focus. Zack Orgi, it's nice to have you, and thank you so much. What message do you have for your fans and friends and lovers in diaspora?
I can only say I love my fans, my brothers and sisters in the diaspora. And by the way, I'll be traveling to London on Wednesday. That's in 2 days' time for a movie premiere. Wow. Odeon Cinema, yeah. All right, what's the movie? The premiere will be done both in London and Birmingham. Traveling on Wednesday.
What's the movie title?
The movie title is St. Mary.
St. Mary, okay.
St. Mary, yeah.
Did you feature in that movie, sir?
Yes, I featured in the movie.
Oh, wow. All right. Probably, can we talk about that movie? You want to say anything about that movie? What's the storyline about?
I can only say people should watch out because it's a great movie.
Okay. Are you gonna?
That's all. That's all I can say for now.
All right. Are you going to premiere it in Nigeria too?
Yes, it will premiere in Nigeria, but I'm not the producer, neither am I the director of the movie.
Okay, all right.
But ironically, the person who directed the first movie I took part in, The Unforgiven Sin, is also the director of the movie.
Wow. I would like to also speak with him and then probably know when the premiere will be in Nigeria so I can be, when Nollywood Radio France can also be part of that premiere.
I will see Matthias tomorrow and I'll tell him about it and I'll give him your number.
All right, thank you very much. So I've been speaking with Zack Orgi on the Backstage Story Show on Nollywood Radio France. He has explored every avenue, he has explored every part, and he has also told us his beginning. So Zack Orgi said, do not plan to be a star. Do whatever you are doing with all tenacity, with hard work. Do it exceedingly well. People will notice you and people will celebrate you. Zack Orgi, it's nice to have you on this show, and I really appreciate your time and everything. I've been watching you since ages back, and it's quite an honor to speak with you directly. I hope to see you someday soon and hug you eventually. Thank you, sir. And until I meet you again on the next exciting episode of the Backstage Story Show It's been Demola Sanyaolu. And remember, you can download the app of the Nollywood Radio France on any mobile device by going to the Google Play Store, search for the Nollywood Radio France show, download the app, install, and you are live on all our programs. It is Demola Sanyaolu on the Backstage Story Show, and until I meet you again on the next exciting episode of this Backstage Story Show on Nollywood Radio France, be good, stay out of trouble, work hard so that you can be celebrated. Bye.